That's the whole thing. Good morning, Boker Tov. Good afternoon to folks tuning in. I flew in late last night from Oakland back to Tucson, and on the second leg of the flight, they came around with the beverage service, and the fellow asked me what I would like, and I said what I always get, which is, can I please have sparkling water with lime? And he said, well, we have lime-flavored sparkling water. Is that okay? And I thought, no, that's not okay. Very interesting. They've always had real lime, sometimes one, sometimes two, three pieces that they put in the water if you ask for it. This is the first time ever that they had some kind of cheap substitute, for that real lime. So I want to talk a little bit about cheap substitutes today. It's not really the full topic, but it's just to say that in today's world, there's many examples of what we might call selling out. And so by selling out, meaning that you're exchanging one kind of value, which is understood and accepted as a value, for another kind of value. So you're lessening one value because you're trying to upgrade on another value. So in the case of business, I assume that they stopped with the real lime because it's cheaper and it's easier for the crew to get to just not have to deal with the fresh lime, right? But that ability that we have to put some value that we have on hold in order to pay attention to a different value is not necessarily a bad thing at all. It's something that we have to do sometimes. For example, we may have the value, hopefully we have the value of taking care of ourselves, taking care of our bodies, eating good food, getting exercise, and so on. That's a good value. But then if there's somebody in crisis, we may have to put aside our schedule for a little while to take care of what needs to be taken care of. There's many examples of this kind of thing. And the trick then is to not let the crises of life, the things that come up, the situations that come up, to take over and to make your exception to the rule become your new rule. So that's the real topic. Because that's something that we all, I think, or many people deal with, is that there's so many things going on in life that it's difficult to be very intentional about what you want your general practice to be. What do you want the norm to be? The norm. What do you want the norm to be from which you diverge? And we can be very intentional about it. If we're constantly too busy to eat the right food and exercise, if there's always something else that gets in the way, then we have to really look at that. Because what we've done is we've let this thing, which is potentially good, the ability to put ourselves aside, to put our own routine, our own needs aside, and to step in and help someone else or deal with whatever, some situation. That's a good thing to be able to do that. Most of us have that. Some people don't have that ability, actually, but it's a good thing. But don't let it take you over. Don't let it become the new ruler. Still remain conscious and intentional. What do you want your daily practice on all levels to be? It's interesting how this principle is really symbolized in a certain way in the Torah in this week. This week's Parsha is Parshat Chukat. And the Torah is a strange story. It's a really cool story. It kind of makes no sense. It's a story of a guy named Yiftach, who is, it's from the book of Judges. And Yiftach is in a family with two brothers, but he is the son of a harlot. So his father had relations with a harlot and is now bringing up Yiftach in the home of his father and the mother of his two brothers, two half-brothers. And at a certain age, the half-brothers kick him out of the house, and they say, "We don't want you to inherit with us. You're the son of a harlot. Get out of here." Meanwhile, Yiftach is actually, it describes him as a mighty warrior. So he leaves, and it says that he goes off and lives in a different place. I think the name of the place is Nob or something like that. And there he attracts a band of men around him who become his companions. And so I don't know, it doesn't say what they do, but they're probably like, for hire or something, for fighting. And eventually the Ammonites come and are attacking Israel. And so the two brothers come back to Yiftach, or Jephthah, as it's said in English. And they say, "Can you come and fight with us?" And he says, "What?" He says, "You used to hate me. Now, because you're in need, you're going to come and ask for my help? What is that about?" And they said, "Look, we'll make you a deal. Come and fight for us, and you can be our leader after that." We'll raise you up. We know we did a not nice thing. We kicked you out. You'll be our head. You'll be our rosh, our leader. So he agrees, and he goes and he fights, and he's successful. Some battles happen. And before the battle, he prays, and he says, Hashem, if you make me victorious, then after it's all over and I go home, the first thing that comes out of my house, I will sacrifice to you. And so he is victorious, and he goes home, and his daughter runs out to greet him. And he says, no, this part of the story is not in the Haftorah. The Haftorah ends right before it tells the rest of the story. But I'm telling the rest of the story because it's related to the point, the theme. And so he ends up having to sacrifice his daughter. And it's a very, very bizarre story for a number of reasons. The obvious one is that you're not allowed to sacrifice your daughter. So what? Why is it saying that he had to keep his... It's just a very strange, anomalous story. But it's also very strange because it makes no sense that he made that vow in the first place. I mean, what was he expecting, a goat to run out of his house or a sheep or something? Of course, one of his family members was going to run out of his house. Makes no sense. So my approach to these kinds of things is we have to look at it allegorically. It's trying to tell us, it's not just telling us a story because it's a weird story or because it's some historical thing that we have to put in our records. Why would we have to put that in our history? I'm sure lots of strange things happen to lots of individuals. Why is it telling us about this particular guy named Yiftach? Which, by the way, means open. Means open, will open. So, Yiftach, in a certain sense, represents this ability to put aside certain values in order to get something done, in order to accomplish something. He's the son of a harlot, first of all. Harlot is that profession is the representation of putting aside our ordinary values of relationship in order to commodify it in some way, right? Being a harlot is a kind of selling out in a way, right? Then, what does he do when they bring him back? He says, Hashem, make me victorious, and I'll sacrifice to you whatever comes out of my house. In other words, for the sake of this victory, I'm willing to give up something that is much more precious normally, right? And what do the brothers say to him in order to convince him to come back? They say, we will make you our ruler. We will make you our ruler. And that's, of course, that's the tragedy. That's the mistake. But even go back a little further, the bigger mistake was they kicked him out in the first place. They disowned him. They disowned that ability to do that, but then they wanted to bring it back in just when they needed it, and then that becomes their ruler. And that's exactly what we have to watch for in ourselves, is to not disown any part of ourselves, but also not to be ruled by any part of ourselves. Now, specifically, with regard to meditation and devakut, or presence, as a moment-to-moment practice, our tendency is to constantly give up that which is most precious. It's very, very common. Most of us, human beings, are constantly giving up that which is most precious, bless you, for the sake of something we think is important in our mind on the level of thought. Right? Because the most precious thing that we have is inherent just in being. Inherent just in being an open eye in the universe. Just in being, in having permission, in having the privilege to be awake, to be a consciousness in this body right now. But we can't really appreciate it as a blessing or as precious if we're constantly thinking about things, if we're constantly using the mind to figure something out or to plan something or to judge something. It's only when we allow that to subside that we can actually receive, that we can be mikabel habracha, receiving the blessing, receiving the most profound blessing. Not the blessing that's this or the blessing that's that, but the ultimate blessing of just being, of being conscious. For most people, that's not the norm. The norm is to just let the mind be thinking and thinking and thinking about different things. But part of the aim, really the central aim of this kind of practice of presence, or of devakut, is to reorient ourselves, to make a new normal of being present. And then not disowning our thoughts, not saying, oh, I'm thinking too much. I wasn't being present, I'm thinking too much. That's like kicking out yiftach from the house. You thoughts that are always gossiping or, judging or planning or worrying about things, get away from me. No. Invite them in. They're part of us. They're welcome. But don't let it rule you. And then use the mind when it's necessary. When the Ammonites come and attack, the mind can help to figure it out, to plan, to make a strategy. But then to return to what's really Shema, what's really embodied in Shema Yisrael. Shema means to just be attentive, to pay attention, to be an open ear. And Yisrael means striving for God, from Sarita El, means strives for the divine. So we're being present, we're listening, but not for the sake of getting some particular information, but rather for the sake of connecting with the miracle of this moment. And we do that not by trying to shut away thoughts, but by really just opening. And that's yiftach. That's the name yiftach, means to open. So opening to yiftach, that's the metaphor really for opening to the fullness of our experience, opening to all feelings, opening to all thoughts, using when necessary, but then always returning, always doing teshuvah back into presence of being an open door, open ear, open eye, and being that presence. So we're not being the mind, we're not being our thoughts, we're not being our feelings, we're not being our bodily urges, but we're not shutting any of those out either. They're all included, but really we are this bigger open space. Yiftach, that big opening. So the chant I'd like to do is coming from the morning blessings. There's a little section where the Shema is said in the morning blessings before it comes later in the Kriyat Shema. And so this shortened version is going to say, Bechol Yom. It means, Bechol Yom means in every day, which means all the time. Bechol Yom, constantly. Shema Yisrael, constantly returning to a state of presence from that place within us that is Yisrael, meaning that wants to connect with the divine miracle underlying all reality, all existence, ever present. Bechol Yom Shema Yisrael. It's like this. Bechol Yom Shema Yisrael. Bechol Yom Shema Shema Yisrael Bechol Yom. 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 Shema Yisrael And bringing right hand to your heart, connecting with the kavanah of yiftach, of openness, giving attention, giving awareness openly to the fullness of your actual experience right now. And in doing so, knowing yourself as this generosity, as this love, this presence as love. And we'll chant Lecha, the offering word Lecha, and long out breath, deep breath in. Lecha. bringing left hand to your belly, shining awareness down into your organs, to all the life-supporting systems, giving your loving attention down into the organs, all the way down through your legs to your feet and toes. Feeling awareness up from your belly, back into your heart, your shoulders, your neck, upper back, flowing down your arms to your hands and fingers, shining up into your face and your brain, filling your skull, feeling the muscles of your face and bringing a little smile to your lips to reflect this serene, loving offering of presence to the temple of the body. Resting awareness on the flow of your breathing. And anchoring this body awareness with Na'aseh, deep breath in. And bringing right hand also to your forehead, bringing to mind the entire space around your body, not separate at all from the awareness that perceives it. Big, borderless, boundless field of consciousness that we are, both within and beyond the body. And we are this open field. Venishma, deep breath in. And kissing fingers, relaxing hands. Atahu, Atyahi. The fullness of the divine is the miracle of this moment, presenting itself in all forms that arise in consciousness, and the consciousness itself that receives this moment, not separate from any of it. Atahu, Atyahi. Atahu, Atahu. bringing the vibration of the phrase inward, resting the mind in atahu or atyahi or both. Resting awareness in the body and the flow of the breathing. Knowing yourself as the open space. And we'll sit together for about 20 minutes. Once again, invoking the kavanah of offering, of being the open space which allows things to be as they are in this moment, with generosity and love of presence, with lecha, deep breath in. Lecha. Left hand down to your belly, shining awareness down into your organs, down through your legs to your feet and toes, shining upward into your heart and lungs, upper back, neck and shoulders, down through your arms, your hands and fingers, feeling awareness into your face, your brain, your skull, your nervous system, bringing smile to your lips, and feeling the flow of your breathing. Affirming this body awareness with Na'aseh, deep breath in. Na'aseh. And bringing right hand to lightly touch your forehead, left hand still in your belly. Aware of the awareness as a vast open space beyond your body, within which your perception of the room, of all of us here in this room, or whatever your space is if you're tuning in on the live stream, aware of all of it arising in this open space of awareness. And you are this space. V'nishma, deep breath in. V'nishma. Kissing your fingers, relaxing your hands. And so the invitation this week is to bring some attention to the normal flow, the everyday flow, not the exception, but the normal. And is it as supportive as it could be? Is it completely intentional, or is it partially just the way things turned out? So you can bring consciousness to that, and depending on what answer you get, you may want to bring a different pattern into your life. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen. Amen. Take a little stretch. Yes. So Alan is going to say Kaddish, and anybody else who wishes to say Kaddish is certainly welcome. Anyone tuning in is welcome to say Kaddish too. So Alan, just give me a second to turn the camera around here. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera around for Alan, and I'm going to change the microphone as well. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Can you just wait just a minute? I'm going to say it with you. I'm also saying Kaddish for my friend's mom. Okay, one moment. Yes. Okay, I'm ready. Thank you. B'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'b'chayei techo beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rab mevorach li'olam li'olamaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu Le'ilam kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiron b'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen. Yes, absolutely. And I apologize. It goes to show you I should look at the words even though I know the brain sometimes.
There's different versions also.
All blessings.